There's a rule called, Craig, give the rule because you're the boring one. Go ahead.
How dare you?
Do you want to give it?
Of course I want to give it. Don't characterize me as boring.
Let me give you the facts, ma'am.
But let me give you the boring facts.
Well, back to Under Oath. I hate these scooters. Hate scooters. Hate them. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them because they go against everything that I do for a living. These people, the companies, they rent these scooters out to give to people who are getting hurt and are hurting other people. And there's no way that anyone can be taken care of. The only person getting paid, the scooter companies. How do we solve that?
That's difficult because what they're doing right now in the legal arena is when we sue them, and we have sued them, they're pretending like they're going to use what's called the Graves Amendment.
Graves,
Graves, Graves Amendment. There's a federal law that says not to get too technical, but you know I love getting technical.
Please don't get technical.
Oh,
they turn the station. Come on, they turn us off. Don't do this. It's the moment where people go,
all right, there's this theory called dangerous instrumentality. And if I let somebody use my car, or if I let somebody use my gun, or if I give them something that's inherently dangerous and they hurt somebody because they're negligent, then not only are they responsible, but I'm responsible too. So if I lend you my car, then I'm responsible if you crash into somebody. Now that doesn't work for rental companies if they have a national presence. So Avis and Hertz and all these cars, they are immune to any state laws regarding dangerous instrumentality. So I can't sue Avis or Hertz if one of their cars is crashed into one of our clients.
That's not right.
Unless the car itself was defective. I can't sue them for negligence.
So they can give this car to anybody.
So the scooter companies are doing the same thing. Hey, we're a national company. These are technically vehicles, and it would affect federal trade or whatever the criteria is to qualify. And so they're threatening to use that. And they've got actually a couple of decisions in Florida that kind of lean to them and make it appear as though that's going to be the law in Florida, but it's not completely settled yet. The districts in Florida are not all in on that particular holding.
Can you force these companies, for example, let's say the city of Orlando. Orlando goes, you know what? We got a problem. People getting killed. They're getting hurt badly. This law doesn't allow it. Can we force them to have to buy insurance?
As a condition of operating their business in a jurisdiction, yeah, that would be handled by local ordinances, local laws.
Or state law.
Well, you could do it state law too, but you can't override the Graves Amendment. So you wouldn't be able to use things like, oh, the company's responsible for somebody else being negligent with it. So you wouldn't be able to do that. But you could say, hey, listen, you're required to carry insurance for anyone who's hurt surrounding the use.
Okay. So why don't we do that? Why don't you and I go to City Hall, put up a couple signs, try to pass a bill?
Because we probably don't have as much money as the scooter companies do, and we would likely get...
We have power.
Do we?
Yes, we have a voice. We can get out there. We can break out the megaphones, get back on the radio, back out on the podcast, everything else.
March.
Because nobody out there logically can argue that. There's no logic behind not being responsible, other than that this law exists. So we say, listen, if you want to do this, great, but you're going to have to buy insurance. So if somebody gets hurt, they're going to be covered, because you who just want to rack up some money and be able to sell your company and go public and everything else are living off the back of injured people. You're making your money off the death, dismemberment, and serious injury of the people who spend $5 to $10 to ride these stupid electronic things on our roads. It's dangerous for me in my car.
Well, sure.
And I'm watching these morons go through stoplights, go through everything, and they're the first one who's going to have a problem if they get hit.
Yeah, they kind of just change their mind on whether or not they're pedestrians or motor vehicles as the situation unfolds. Yeah, I'm a pedestrian. I'm going to go into the crosswalk. I've actually seen people have to move out of the way or get run over by people on the scooters,
and they're
on
idiots.
Sidewalks.
Idiots. And I've seen them. They laugh as they fall. Oh, What do you mean? You just knock somebody off the sidewalk. What's so funny? It'd be funny if I kicked you in the head. Wouldn't be that funny. And then I'd get arrested.
Well, yeah. You're definitely getting arrested if you're...
What if I force people to wear helmets? Can I do that?
You can. Sure, you can pass a law, but you saw how effective that was when they made motorcyclists wear helmets. Nobody did it, and it became a joke, and they finally repealed it.
I thought they filed a law. I thought the people who said they have a right not to wear a helmet, I thought there were lawsuits based on that.
I think it was more of an enforcement mechanism. They can't enforce it. They couldn't enforce it.
Well, they can. The same way they pull you over for not wearing a seatbelt.
If you're an individual, but the way that all the bikers during Bike Week got together, none of them wore a helmet. There's 70, 80,000 of them. What are you going to do, pull 70, 80,000 bikers over one at a time?
Listen, I never followed that rule pretty well. Everyone hated that.
Everyone did hate it. Yeah.
I mean, the problem is my helmet vibrated on my head. I didn't like it.
Well, it doesn't look cool.
It wasn't
a
coolness
cool
issue
when you're wearing a helmet.
But then the skin cancer kicked in, and then I realized maybe I should have worn that helmet. Those do-rags don't exactly protect you from UV.
So if the city owns it, that's a different matter. So are we talking about city-owned scooters? Are we talking about private companies who have a lease?
I'm talking
or
private
an agreement with the city?
private companies.
Okay, all right. There's an exception if the city owns it.
Well, the problem, a lot of people don't know in Florida, anytime a city gets sued for something like the George Floyd, where the city got sued and they paid like $18 million, in the state of Florida, we don't quite allow that. We have a limitation to how much you
had
can
a significant Southern drawl added to your comment. We said we don't allow that.
We don't allow that. There's a rule called Craig. Give the rule because you're the boring one. Go ahead.
How dare you?
Do you want to give it?
Of course I want to give it. Don't characterize me as boring.
Let me give you the facts, ma'am.
But let me give you the boring facts. It's sovereign immunity. You cannot sue the king. That's the original, the origins of this sovereign immunity law is, for the longest time, you were never allowed to sue the king or whoever was the ruler, right? Sovereign immunity, that's what they call it. Can't sue the king. Do whatever I want. But, and that's the default rule. And there are some states, there are some states that you can't sue the state. Florida's not one of them. They've waived sovereign immunity.
To a point.
And so what the state has said is, okay, we will allow you to sue the king, the state, but you can never get more than $200,000 for an individual who's hurt, or $300,000 for an entire incident. So let me give you an example. You run a city bus off a cliff, and there's one passenger in it, he can get up to $200,000.
Right.
You run the same bus off the same cliff, and it's full of people. All the people together cannot get more than $300,000 total.
Have to split the $300,000 total. And you want to talk about a nightmare? I've been in these meetings with 8 people trying to figure out who each one has like 50 to 100,000 in damages.
Very hurt people.
Very hurt people.
You talking about the Volusia County, the old folks bus or van?
All I know is this is trying to go, okay, you get 10,000, you get 20. Well, this guy had $1 million in damages.
Oh, he gets 15,000.
Oh, it's a nightmare scenario.
It's horrific.
Now, Florida does have a weird thing that you could go.
You can
go to the Florida Congress and try to pass a bill.
It's called a claims bill.
I'm just a bill.
So what you do is you get your judgment. Let's say you get a $13 million judgment.
$1 billion.
And of course, sovereign immunity kicks in. They're only going to pay $200 or $300 for the entire event if there's more than one plaintiff. You need then to have one of the legislatures file a bill in the House to pay you, despite the fact that the sovereign immunity cap
both
has been
houses
reached.
Have to sign it. And then the governor has to sign it.
They all have to agree, yes, this particular person for this particular case deserves
more money.
More money than we give.
More money.
If you think that you are going to get one of those and you are not an orphaned kid, then you're out of your mind.
I'm telling you. Everyone thinks.
You could be missing a leg, and I don't think that the claims bill will be passed for you. Now, if your parents are killed,
it's a political.
Your parents are killed. and the 200 is not going to be able to
Like they gave the football
them.
player. They gave the football player on the field.
Yeah, I think he got more.
The UCF athlete, he got a bill. See, the only way to get a bill is to have everybody in there go, that seems good. And the only way they do that is if they're too embarrassed to say no. They love to say no. They won't pass.
That's the default rule.
Yeah, you know how much important legislation needs to be passed, and we never pass it because there's the other one go, nope, I don't feel good about that one. But if he's going to look bad on camera, that's how they say, yes, of course. Of course, we're here to help you. We're here to help. Unlike that tort reform bill, we're here to help. The hardest thing, if you want to ever see how bad your government is, just watch these live feeds. Watch these guys get up there and talk and explain why they're doing some really bad stuff. And
where they pretend why they're doing something?
I'll say they like Foghorn Leghorn from Looney Tunes. I say, the great people of Florida and of Ocoee really need this because somebody paid me a lot of money. And that's normally how this stuff passes. A bill is normally passed because somebody owes somebody a favor. And they have to go in, and whether they donated a lot of money or did all this stuff.
Or there's such an outcry from the public that you have to pass it.
That's true. I think that's just what happens. I mean, and here's the deal with the city, and you'll love this process. This process is the dumbest process. Okay. You get hit by a city bus. You have to notify the city.
Hey, I'm going to sue you.
Hey, there's a problem, Houston. And then you have to sit for 6 months. You've notified them. Nobody's done anything. They've never do anything. And nobody calls you in that first week. He goes, hey, you're right. Let's get on this.
And clients get so mad during this period.
Why don't they care?
They don't understand.
Why did the city care?
They don't care. That's what do you mean? Why?
Because the attorneys handling this for the city.
They don't care.
They're going, well, we'll just keep billing.
There's no reason for them to care.
No, because they only can lose a maximum of $300,000.
Right.
So they're going, 50 deaths. That's cool. Just let it sit.
Yeah, they're not in any rush to get anything done,
and everyone's mad. Everyone's mad about it.
I don't know. The city attorneys seem angry all the time.
They're mad at you.
I can only guess that they're mad that that's the best job they can land. I don't know.
They're terrible.
I don't know.
There's a city attorney right out there listening to me and goes, I'm not terrible. You're terrible.
It's like the public defender's office. If you've been at the public defender's office for more than
30 years,
5 years,
yeah,
chances are you're pretty terrible at being a lawyer and you can't really get a job anywhere else.
Now, there's some people. Now,
I know.
There's one out of 50.
It's the general rule.
We were public defenders, and I became a public defender because I worked for a bank for a year and felt so guilty that I took the job at the public defender's office.
For you.
Yes, that was penance. I felt so bad about what I had done for a year working for a bank. I got to do this, and that's where I met Craig. And Craig's first job was at the public defenders. That's where a lot of people's first jobs are. So it's kind of like, I don't want to say it's kind of like being a resident, where you're in the emergency room helping out and they let the kid work on you.
I don't want to say it's exactly like that. You see every kind of legal case you can possibly think of in a short matter of time. I mean, you have all of it all at once.
There's a big difference though. You actually practice surgeries and things like that. Maybe at school. You were taught how to do a surgery. Nobody teaches you how to do criminal cases until you're doing criminal cases.
Well, if you're lucky, you have done one like I did. I had trial advocacy, and I had a criminal case that I handled. It took me all semester to handle it. And so when I got to the public defenders, I don't know if I ever told you this. My first day there, they told me how many cases I had that afternoon. It was like, I don't know, 64, 68, something like that, just under 70. And I remember thinking, okay, well, this is doable. I had one during law school, and it took a lot of time and effort and everything, but that was just for one class. So if I can dedicate all of my time to just these 68, I should be pretty good. I think I'm good. So I'm telling the secretary this, like, well, it seems like a lot, but okay, I think I can handle that much. And she goes, what do you mean handle that much? I mean, if that's my caseload, I think I can do it. She goes, that's not your caseload. That's just this afternoon. You have the same number tomorrow and the same number the day after that. Are you kidding me?
My favorite was this. I remember like one of our first days. The first week we got there, we had a trial date on Friday, and we had like 24 things set for trial. And here was the deal. We were in a kind of a conservative city where everyone pled out to these really bad deals, and nobody took anything to trial. Well, Craig and I were so stupid. We're going, we'll try it all. And
how many trials we have set for that first day?
16.
16 trials set for one day. Yeah, I remember that.
And the judge looked at us. Are you two? We're ready for trial, Your Honor.
I'm ready
and our
for that
dumbasses we took the majority of those to trial. And all I know is this: by the time we were done, that state attorney called our boss. He narked on us. He narked on us.
The elected official, the state attorney, was it John Tanner at the time?
Yeah, John Tanner called our boss.
The guy calls our boss personally.
Yeah.
He says,
Randy,
what are your two public defenders doing over there?
Which boys are you? Which two defenders are you talking about?
What did Randy say when he came in to talk to us?
You remember?
What did he say? You tell him.
I thought he remembered something like "good job."
Good job. Keep it up.
Good job. Keep it up.
There you go. Just like that.
Good job.
Got the Randy voice.
Randy was a like a serious Vietnam vet. I mean, he was a badass. Except he had these oxygen tanks.
He was a little old.
He was a little old, but he was like, "You guys," and I couldn't understand. I understood like one out of every 3 words he said half the time. Jeff, you're done. He was really, he looked and sounded like Yosemite Sam. I think that's the best way to put it. He had that look on his face like he was ready to guns blazing every time. But what happened is that the other public defenders, we had guys who never tried cases. We had one dude who only tried cases if he thought the girl was cute.
Oh, yeah.
If the girl was cute, he went to trial.
Yeah,
Other than that, you were taking the plea.
Yeah. If you were a dude or ugly, forget it. You're going to jail. You're pleading out to something.
Then we had one public defender. He was insane. He was absolutely office rocker. And, it's good enough I can say this now because he's probably dead. But he was a nut job. And he was always threatening to fight us. It was weird. He would just suddenly get mad and he'd bow up to us. Now, Craig was probably as big as he is now. He was a little chunkier back then.
I don't remember him bowing up to me.
He came up to you. He came up to you and you go, I'm going to kick your ass. You did tell him you were going to whoop his ass.
Oh, yeah, I did. You reminded me.
Could you imagine your 2 attorneys, your defense attorneys? Defense attorneys, you're not adversaries.
There's a big fight over at the public defender's table.
Yeah, Craig almost killed somebody. And I remember that was the whole idea. I gave up that shift. I go, Craig, you know what? You should take this. I think you deserve it. I think I'm going to give you the opportunity to take the felony spot. Because one thing that they did, all the felony public defenders did, they gave all their crap work to the new guy. You remember that? Oh, go to the jail. Do this. Write this motion.
I remember. Yeah.
And those were terrible days, but it's true. The new public defenders do the most work, and they're the least qualified.
The point of all of that is you learn a lot very quickly at the public defender's office, and if you're pretty good at it, you're either going to get moved out, and you'll probably be at the appellate division of the public defender's office. Those are excellent attorneys.
Yeah.
Or you go out on your own, or you find a job in the private practice somewhere. But if you're just a trial attorney at the public defender's office for 10, 15, 20 years, I hate to say it, chances are you're probably not that great, and that's why you're still there.
It's painful when I see people.
There are exceptions to the rule.
There are, but not many.
Well,
and that's a sad thing. And there'll be public defenders who listen to us right now and go, Jeff, that's so mean of you.
Yeah, we're not talking about you guys.
We're not talking about the ones who care. But I'll tell you what, do me a favor. The one who was offended by me, when you go to work on Monday,
it's probably you.
Look left and right. And if you're the one who cares, you know it. That's all. You know, at least 5 people in your office goes, ooh, I wouldn't want him. If you're a public defender right now, ask yourself this. Who would you want to represent you who works in your office?
Yeah. When we were there, they would actually say Craig or Jeff.
Yeah.
They would actually say that.
We had people who would, there was every once in a while that people would come to us and be mad because we'd have to give them the truth. We'd have to go, listen, the problem is that the evidence is high against you. You admitted it. Your friends told on you. There's a video. And still, you guys suck. We don't suck. You sucked. That's the problem. You're a terrible criminal. You got caught and there's evidence there.
Here's a video of you doing it.
And here's the deal we got for you. And normally what would happen, they go, well, I want a new public defender. And that never works out because you get the one that doesn't care.
Yeah.
I remember the guy I was talking about earlier. I was taken off a case because a mother complained, and they gave it to this dude. And within 10 minutes of talking to him, this mother came back to me, please, I'm so sorry. Please help my son out. 6 months later, he came back for another crazy thing. That's the thing about mothers. Mothers, not fathers. I never had an argument with a dad in a criminal case.
Of course you didn't, because they were never there.
Well, sometimes they were there, but they had to keep quiet. It was the mothers who the kid never did anything. The father kind of looked at you and goes, I bet he did.
Man, we had some mothers that would go, if you gave them the option, they would go serve the time themselves.
Yeah.
So that their kid didn't have to.
There's some loons out there. Here, moms, here's the deal. The reason your kid is there in the first place is because you didn't put them on lockdown. They're always hanging out with those bad kids. And we always said it when they asked us, why do kids commit crimes? Look at their friends. It was very rarely did a kid do something on his own. It was always with somebody else.
Yeah, it was always the same group of kids every time.
And that group expands. Who were you with?
Well, there was different groups, but everyone in the group would always get in trouble. So you probably had about, 15, 20 groups of kids. And every one of them in each of the group was always in trouble.
I remember this kid, but I don't know how not to get sued and say it. He had a name of a famous Western gangster, like a cowboy gangster, and it was the blank. Yeah,
you might want to stop there.
Yeah, but he had a gangster name. His parents named him after a famous gangster, and I was going, of course he's going to be a criminal. You named him.
Hey, meet my son, Al Capone.
Yeah. It's like, I'm not kidding you. And everybody, you'd see this kid. Who were you with? Al Capone. Of course. And everyone, we had like 60 of these kids.
Jeff, it occurs to me, we're not really arguing. We're just reminiscing now.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
Don't we have to argue about something? Aren't they expecting us to argue about something?
All right, here it is.
I can understand you not wanting to argue with me because you always lose. But I think they're kind of expecting to see a boxing match.
Hold on. There's a difference between not wanting to lose and feeling bad because I know you need these victories. There's a big difference between me going, I want my friend to go home in a good mood. I don't want you to go home and and try to get in a fight at the gym or something.
Oh,
what happened? I hurt myself at the gym. I was so mad about that argument we had. There was this guy at the gym, he was lifting heavy and I got mad and I started lifting heavy. And then together we were lifting heavy. Before I knew it, I hit him with a dumbbell. See, I don't work out. See, I can't work out because then I'd have to talk to the people there. And you and I both know, they're not curing cancer at the gym.
What are you talking about?
You know what I'm talking about.
No, I don't. Say it out loud.
Okay.
Say it out loud. What, there are a bunch of hillbillies who don't know what they're talking about?
The more,
bunch of dummies.
The greater the measurement of your bicep, the lower your IQ is. Okay?
Tell that to Hulk Hogan.
Of course. He's the king of that. I mean, what did Hulk do? Oh, I don't know. I mean, if Hulk wasn't big, nobody would know him. He's not.
Do you think you'd say that to his face?
No, because I don't want my ass whooped. That doesn't mean I wouldn't run him over in my car.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good idea.
I mean, that's the problem. You and I both know the meatheads. Watch these shows on the WWE wrestlers. All dumbasses. None of them, not one of them have a degree in.
Small sliver of the category of people who go to the gym. There's a vast
meatheads
group of people.
Meatheads. Why do you think they call them meatheads?
I don't know why they call them meatheads.
Because they only have meat in their head.
I think because they're jealous.
Really? That's
they're
it?
Jealous,
that's it?
Yeah. Hey. That's what you do with a whole group of people that you are jealous of. You make fun of them. You make them seem like they're less than you because it makes yourself feel better.
What negative term do we have for doctors?
Eggheads.
Eggheads? Oh, yeah. They're too smart?
Yeah.
Well, that's everybody. That's rocket scientists. Every smart person is an egghead.
Yeah.
But doctors, I mean, those damn doctors, you know what?
Eggheads. That's what they call them.
Really? Okay. See, we did wind up being able to argue about something.